Hello, Samya. Thanks so much for being here on my YouTube channel. How have you been?
I've been good. Thank you for having me. And it's really good to see you again.
Yes, it is certainly uh, as we were talking, like the last time that we had a video conversation like that, it was like 3 or 2 years ago, a long time, and it's amazing to be here, like
Yeah.
speaking English again. So, like catching up in all
Same.
these details.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me, like, how have been like these years? I've been studying a lot of English and like improving our grammar and speaking skills.
Yeah, as I was saying, because of pandemic, I had a plenty of time, to study and improve my English, all skills, speaking skills, listening, writing, reading. And I tried to enjoy the time that I had back then, to read as much as I could, watch a lot of movie in English, and I tried to speak with a lot of people in English. And also, I studied a lot of grammar. And then after pandemic was over, I didn't have time to have this kind of quality, in my studies. So
Yeah.
I slowed down a little bit. So, but I continued studying, but not like how I was studying before the pandemic. So yeah, nowadays I I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in languages. So every single day I have some moments where I'm or listening or speaking in English. So yeah, so I think I improved a lot. I have improved my English so far a lot.
Awesome, good. Yeah, your story is just like mine. Like during the pandemic, I took this opportunity, like the situation that we were mostly at home, to dive into my English and get better at speaking English. And after that, a lot of things like happened, especially because like I started working at an English school too, just like you, so I could have more opportunities to be engaged in the language, and also I was like making. I was not like so much like making videos and all that. I was a little bit took a break, from my YouTube channel in order to focus more on myself and be able to improve all that part. But yeah, so since then I have been like reading, as you said, like watching movies, everything in English as much as I can in order to get better. And like, but in terms of like things like 2 years ago, like 2, 3 years ago, do you believe that that is still something that you have to work on, or do you believe that it's just a matter of practicing and mastering all the grammar and all the the parts that you have to develop?
I mean, I think I have to practice more my speaking because sometimes I I have some breaks from speaking. So when this happens, I feel that when I try to get back to have a conversation, for example, it's a little bit difficult to speak um, the way I was speaking before. For example, this is the first time that I'm speaking English after a long time.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, yeah. So um, because speaking, you have to speak in order to improve uh,
Definitely.
your skill. So it's like riding a bike. You know how to ride a bike, but if you keep a long time without riding a bike, when you try to go out and try for the first time after a long period of not doing it. So you will have some problems, you know, to remember some of the basic skills. You know, you might have to I don't know, you have to, yeah, to fill the whole bike, and then try to remember how to ride and how to guide the bicycle. So yeah, so
Yes, certainly.
I think
Yes.
speaking, because I haven't spoken English.
Um, you know, so do you feel like that right now? So do you believe like that your English is a little bit rusty due to this time that you have taken a break?
Yeah, you know, I think this because when I watch some videos from the past, you know, when I was more familiar with English, you know, I can see that I knew a lot of vocabularies that I cannot remember right now. Um, yeah, I think the biggest difference is about the vocabulary, you know, that I nowadays I use the basics vocabulary words, you know, the basics words. And when I watch some videos from the past, I see, oh, I used to use more words, different words, you know.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, like English is like the example that you mentioned about like riding a bike. English is something that it's so how what can I say? Like for example, if we don't practice for a long time, like we forget a lot of words, and I feel so frustrated about it. Like I hate when I want to say something, and I know that I knew the word in the past, and oh my gosh, I forgot the expression. So I try hard not to keep a long time, you know, without speaking in English. And but it's completely normal, right? Especially because of our busy routine and our busy schedule. Yeah, definitely. And like back then, like I saw on your Instagram, like there were times that you were like recording videos that you had a schedule, and you'd post on your Instagram like, oh, I have time to speak with you like at this time, at this time. What was that like? What was that experience? What were you doing back then?
Oh gosh, I didn't even remember these moments. Yeah, thank you for for reminding me this moment. But yeah, I did this, right? Yeah, it was you know, as I said before, it was a time that I had free time to talk, so I was desiring to talk to a lot of people, you know, to have this moment, because at that time I noticed that the more I speak, the more I spoke, the more I could improve my speaking skills. So that's why I opened my schedule and I started sharing with a lot of people. Okay, if you want to have a conversation in English, practice with me. So please let me know, and then we can have video conversation. So yeah, so it was a good time because I I had opportunity to talk with a lot of people, not only from Brazil, but from other countries. So I could have, yeah, I could talk to people with different accent, and I think this is important because since that English is a international language, we will have contact with different accents. So it was really good, and also because I could learn a little bit about their culture. So yeah, it was really nice. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, great. It's a great way of like practice with a lot of people. And yeah, it's amazing. And I even saw like a picture that you took and you posted on your Instagram. It was like you and a bunch of people like together. So were there times where you usually have like conversations with a bunch of people, like not just one?
yeah, we had small groups, you know, so you used to like yeah, schedule a moment to have those conversations. So yeah, sometimes we talk about traveling, about movies, about our culture, you know, just sharing some informations about Brazil, and then they shared about their country. So yeah, it was a good time to learn English. I wish I could have those. I wish I could have these kind of conversations right now, because it's really, really, really good.
Ah, cool, awesome. And what is really great about that is that I love having conversations like this. For example, right now, I don't have a script. I don't have anything. I just have like having like a free conversations, and when the topics come up, I just talk about it. Yeah, I think it's the best way, like being spontaneous in the language, right? Like not being so scripted. And yeah, it's awesome like to do that. And like in terms of like teaching, like especially right now, you told me you have been like studying to be an English teacher, right, to get your degree. And I was doing that, but I decided to focus on other things, as I mentioned. And I'd like to talk a little bit about this process of learning English in Brazil, because as we know, like it's not a lot of people who, you know how to speak English. And how do you see that, in your opinion? Why we spend so much time, at least here, like where I live, we learn English from the fifth grade to the third grade in high school, for instance, like 8 years, more or less, you know? Why do you think we spend so much time having a lot of English subjects, but we like get our degree and we don't know almost like anything?
You mean like at university, or you mean like
Like in
uh,
public schools, I mean, in public schools.
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the
What is
answer,
your take on it?
I mean, it's because the English lessons in public school are focused on more grammar, you know, so they teach grammar, and I think the target is to learn how to read and how to write, and not to speak, because as long as I know, we don't have a lot of speaking practice, you know.
Yeah, you
Well,
don't.
that's why people usually say, okay, I spent, I don't know, maybe 8 years studying English, you know, having this kind of subject at school, but I cannot speak. If I meet someone and from my speaking English country, I cannot talk to them because I don't know how to speak. Even though I had um, yeah, English classes for about 80 years, because the focus is not speaking, you know. So um, I learned at university that language is social, you know. It's part, is biological, but it is part social. So we have to speak in order to learn, you know, how to speak that language. So that's why.
Cool. Great. Yeah, because and for example, when we study in college, like we have like the graduation to be like specifically an English teacher, but there are other kinds of graduation that we can be Portuguese teacher as well as English teachers, right? And in your opinion, do you believe that it's like a disadvantage when, for example, a graduation is not completely focused on that subject, when you have like a mixture of Portuguese and English? So of course, when it happens based on the grade, like they tend to give more attention to Portuguese rather than English. So do you believe that in a certain way it affects like the quality of the way they teach at public schools?
Well, this is a good question. Well, in my perspective, I mean, it depends, you know, because we have to think that some people entered enrolled in English graduation. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Graduation. But they don't know how to speak English. You know, they think, okay, I'm gonna get into college and do English graduation because I want to learn how to speak English. You know,
Yeah.
they decided to take an English graduation because they think they will learn English at university, but they forget that it is a graduation to help you to become an English teacher. You know, so I think if you think about those students who don't know the language yet, you know, it is nice to have these classes in English and Portuguese. But I think the mysterious is to find a balance. You know, I think until a certain moment, it is good. You know, because we all getting to know about the graduation. So about how things happens and why we are there. You know, so I think at the beginning is good.
Yeah.
But I think from the middle until the end of the graduation, I think it would be good if we only take classes only in English.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned a good point. Like it brings up like that. It's like a paradox. Like as you said, like some people they want to go to like English like college to, but they have this like mentality like, oh, like studying English like in my graduation I will be able to be fluent, to speak better, and that is like a paradox and it doesn't happen at all, right? So but it's not a paradox. Like, okay, I'm studying to be an English teacher, I'm gonna teach the language, but otherwise I don't know how to like properly like speak the language fluently. Do you believe that it's adequate like to teach something that you don't know how to speak? What is your opinion on it?
Oh man, you have a lot of
I'm just coming up with these questions. I didn't prepare anything, you know. I swear.
okay. Yeah, as I was saying, I think you know, since we are going to be teachers, English teachers, yeah, I agree with you. I think we have to know how to speak the language and know how to teach the language, because I think it's a kind of, you know, yeah, contract. Oh my gosh, how can I pronounce this word?
Contradictory. Yeah, contradictory. Yeah.
Contradictory.
Yeah.
You know, because you are there teaching English, and then you don't know how to speak. How can you be able to teach pronunciation, for example? How can you be able to teach grammar if you don't know how to, how to speak? Because I don't know. Yeah, it's a little bit complicated, I think.
Yeah. Like the reason I asked you that is because I see it the other way around. Like, let's get someone who didn't go to college, like to be specifically an English teacher, but this person knows how to speak. Like he has he or she has a very good level of English, and they can communicate well, and they love like the profession of teaching. But because of but because of circumstances, he or she didn't go to college, and then so like especially like in English courses, like a lot of people, like in English courses, they don't have like English as their primary focus. Like not everybody there like wants to be an English teacher for their whole career, right? And like they believe that it's possible like someone who doesn't go to college to be specifically an English teacher in public schools and college, they can also teach.
Yeah, you know what? This made me remind me about this kind of idea that the better teacher is a native speaker. So um, some people, okay, I'm gonna take classes on Cambly because I can't talk to natives, so I think I can learn faster. I don't know. But there are these beliefs, like, okay, I can learn English only with a native speaker. But I mean, just because they speak the language, it doesn't mean they will be a good teacher, because it doesn't mean that they will know how to teach. I think that the best teacher is the one who learned a second language.
Yeah.
Because I think they know the process. They are able to help you better because they went through things that you might go through as well. So yeah,
like the shortcuts, right, to get to the language. And yeah, cool. That's a good point, Sammy. And how do you see that? Like, it's an amazing point that you brought up, like in terms of, I can just learn English from native speakers. And there's a huge, like, I like to emphasize this huge market right now on YouTube, on the internet. Like, there are a lot of native speakers. You might know, like Gavin, like small advantages, like Gavin. We have a lot of native speakers who know how to speak Portuguese, and they teach. They have their courses, and there are a lot of people out there doing that. So you, so what I believe that, like, you don't agree with that, like in terms of you can just learn from native speakers. You can also learn from like non-native speakers who study, who strive to learn the language, right? Is that
you just have to think about, for example, Richard. You are a Portuguese native speaker, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think you are able to teach Portuguese to a foreigner?
Yeah, I do. I think so. Yeah, especially what I think about it, as you said, like, because English is something that I don't agree with, like certain like methodologies. Like, there are countless methodologies out there to teach English, but I don't agree with that one, that you should like start from the beginning, study like in English, everything in English. You can't say anything in Portuguese. I know, like, okay, it helps. It's helpful. People can, each person is unique, and each person can adapt to like everything situation. But I don't know it's the best approach, to start like since the beginning, like speaking in English all the time. I don't know. I think it's too intensive. And I do believe that it's possible, because when we are not a native speaker, as you said, we have like an advantage that, for example, we know, like, we are Portuguese speakers and we are going through this process to learn. So we can explain in a way that maybe a native speaker who has learned Portuguese will not be able to, you know what I mean? So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe that it's possible. Like, non-native speakers can teach English, of course, and it's like a process. Each person is unique, and so a person can adapt to this situation, another person can adapt to others. So it depends on like how this person learns. But I totally agree with it that it's possible to. But what about you? What is your take on it?
You know what? I've been studying a lot of theories that discuss this kind of things, about how we can learn a language, what is the best way to teach a language. And then I discovered that, man, it doesn't have a best way, because every human being learn. I mean, it is good to know all of those theory, because you are able to how can I say, because knowing a lot of theories, you have a lot of different approaches, and then you can, like test it, those theories with your students,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you know this book called Aquisição da Segunda Língua by Vera Lúcia.
No,
And
I don't.
this book, she discussed some theories, the very well known theories, and each chapter she shares like some experience from English learners. For example, the first chapter, I think she discussed behaviorism theory.
Yeah.
Some people that thinks, okay, I learn English if I keep repeating some sentences,
Yeah.
like repeating what's your name, what's your name, what's your name, then I will learn. So if I keep repeating and memorizing phrases, so I will get a point where I will be able to speak English, better. So, but then she show us another different theory, a different approach, like the social culture, that you can only learn a language if you interact with others, so then we have this idea that we can only learn a language if I speak with others, so I have to speak with other people so I can learn this way. We have different approaches, and I think it is good because we have like the knowledge. Okay, if this didn't happen with my students, so I can try another thing, because
I gotcha.
you know,
You have a lot of tools at your disposal in order to test on your students in order to see which one is the best for he or
yeah.
she, right? I got you. I got you. And in terms of learning, Samya, we know like we have been studying English. Like a teacher is also a student. We always have to learn something new, right? So we have been for studying for a long time, and what like that take me back to the beginning. Like in your opinion, like throughout your English studies, uh, which method, which approach do you consider was the most beneficial, to you to get to the level that you are at right now?
I mean, each moment that I had, I used a different um, different tool, a different method to learn English. So I think all those combined helped me to get where I am right now. So at the beginning, I had this mind, I used to memorize a lot of sentences in English. For example, I used to watch Friends, and then all the sentence I wrote down in my notebook, and then I used to repeat them. So I think I was learning that way. Yeah, I learned,
Yeah.
but then I realized that it was a little bit limited, because when I had a real conversation, those phrases weren't enough to keep the conversation going. So I decided, okay, I need to talk, I need to speak, I need to have conversations with other people. So then I started having conversation, and then I could notice that my English improved a lot, my speaking. And then I used other methodologies like learning only vocabularies, only grammar. Then I started studying only grammar. Okay, I have to study grammar, so I think this is can help me to improve my English. So each part of my English learning process, I used a different methodology, and it was all of those combined helped me to learn English, and I'm still doing it. So
Awesome. Yeah, in my case, it's the same. Like in terms of, I don't know how to tell you what approach was the best for me. I just remember like when I was at a private English school that I studied there for a year and a half, and then after I enrolled on Cambly, I just had English conversations, but like off camera, like it was not just Cambly. I was watching a lot of videos, studying grammar, studying expression, phrasal verbs, everything like that I could in order to get better and better, and try like to use everything during my Cambly classes. So I would say in my case it's like a mixture of studying the grammar part, studying like a lot of patterns in English, and trying with a real person on Cambly. So yeah, in my opinion, speaking is the best way, and it's the nicest way to develop in a language, right? It's so motivating. And the last question, just to wrap up our conversation, it was awesome. Like it's already like 30 minutes of conversation. Time goes by so fast when you talk in English. Um, what is your goal in English? Like, is there a place where you like to reach, to get to?
you mean like professionally?
Professionally and like in terms of the language in English, like is there
Well,
a
first of
goal?
all, it's my dream to, like to have my own business, I don't know, maybe being in front of English school, I don't know, something um, online maybe, but my first goal, the top goal is going to another speaking English country that I hope I can go to, or England, or the United States, or Canada, whatever. English speaking country, to have this immersion and cultural experience, and this is my dream. So yeah, the top goal is going to another English speaking country, and then have my own business in English. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the same way. Like in terms of creating my own business, in terms of like studying, I have created, and actually I have been creating a method of my own, and I have been using it with a lot of students. I have been getting a lot of great feedback, from them, and that's it. Like, and like being the best version of myself when it comes to speaking English. And that's what I love about it, because I read a lot of texts. I try to read a lot of books, learn new words, and every now and then I come across a new word and I feel like, oh, let's learn. There are so many things to learn. It looks like endless. Like it looks like all the time I watch a movie, a TV show, there is a new word and I take notes of it. So yeah, I love this. I love this, having to learn more and more. And maybe learn a third or fourth language, in the future. I don't know. Like I have been like thinking about it. But now I just to focus just on English, because I'm not like a multitasking person. I like focusing on just one thing. Yeah, but thank you so much for being here again. It was awesome. Like it's been a long time, and it was really cool to have this conversation.
Thank you, Richard. It was really nice talking to you again.
Thank you so much. So Samya, see you again next time. Take care. Okay. Bye bye.
Well,
Bye bye.